in one of the papers this morning, it's actually the Sunday Mirror, this is said, it's not worked with Ten Hag. Now Sir Jim needs a big character. There's one man who ticks all the boxes. Bring back Jose. Now, you could say that's it is Robbie Fowler, so is he an agent saying if you bring back Jose, that's going to muck up Man United for more years? But I actually agree with Robbie Fowler. I think that is the way to go. You go on about this, well, yeah, but he doesn't build clubs for the long term. Well, who has built Man United for the long term in recent years? It needs a quick fix. Jose's the answer. I agree with Robbie Fowler.
Well, everything that Ratcliffe has said suggests that he is trying to rebuild, and that his evolution. I don't think it's mischief making by Robbie Fowler. It's he makes a very cogent case, and others do. I mean, I would be slightly relieved as I've got a bet with England fans that Jose Mourinho, I'm saying, won't become England manager, and if he does, I think the forfeit is, according to them, is that I've got to swim the Thames dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire. So I think that I would like to see Jose away from the England role. I just think the first thing that Manchester United have to do is get Dan Ashworth in from your place. I think they need to pay up or to do the deal, get Dan Ashworth in. It's not
as sexy as bring back Jose, is it?
No, but it is if you understand the way they want to work. You can't
Come on, Henry, get Jose back.
You can't parachute a manager in until you've got sort of Dan Ashworth in there dictating who should actually come in.
Robbie Fowler. Mourinho is one of the very few bosses with the sheer force of will to impose themselves on the biggest clubs.
Yeah, he does fall out with people at clubs, though.
Yeah, he does. Thomas Tuchel falls out with people at clubs. Managers fall out with people at clubs.
But are you getting 2004
Pochettino fell out with it. I don't know what I'm getting. I just think he's one of the great managers and gets energised by big clubs. And actually did a pretty good job at Manchester United.
I think Manchester United's problem is that there are actually not many strong candidates out there. Look, it's Manchester United. Even though they're not going to be in the Champions League, you will get a good manager, but you're not going to get an elite manager.
And you don't think Jose is an elite manager anymore, so
he has been. He has been. Do you think Jose is elite at the moment? Do you think he's Pep, Jurgen, Ancelotti level?
But then you're just saying Man United can't attract that manager necessarily. He's certainly the next level down, so get him in. Anyway, Man United, Arsenal, in the old glory days when we had Pizzagate and wonderful runs of the invisible battles, Martin Keown jumping up and down all over Van Nistelrooy. They were sensational. So remember Wiltord scoring to win the league at Old Trafford. What are we, 20-odd years ago now? They're fantastic, fantastic fixtures, except this one today feels like, well, Arsenal are bound to win.
Well, listening to Connor, listening to Arsenal fans, they are slightly concerned. Look, on form, and you look at the players they've got absolutely in form. You look at Declan Rice, you look at Martin Odegaard, you look at Bukayo Saka, you look at the defenders, William Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White's probably been one of the most consistent right backs in the league this season. They've got talent all over. Thomas Partey coming in deeper midfield has allowed Declan Rice to go and express himself even more, show different elements to his game. So look, absolutely they will be favourites, but Manchester United at home with the fans absolutely demanding they give everything. I would say they've got too many injuries and they look almost like a sort of beaten club that they're waiting for the summer.
But do Man United fans want Man City to win the league?
You're then going down to Spurs.
But you say the fans will be demanding it, but
yeah, but I think you have to think of your own team first rather than sort of helping your rivals. I heard
loads of fans yesterday talking about they're not bothered if Tottenham lose on Tuesday night.
Yeah, but are they the fans who are actually going to be inside the ground or people on social media? I mean, there is a slight sort of difference that, look, clearly there will be some and a crossover, and I did it as a mono, which you sort of dismissed recently.
Did you?
Yeah.
I can't remember it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it stating the obvious?
You won it, yes, as ever. Yeah, look, they will be up for it. They will absolutely demand something. But you just think, I don't know, that the two teams at the top will just win their remaining two games.
Now, you've been a huge lover of Arsenal this season, apart from the fact maybe they could do with a striker. And actually, you would have voted for Declan Rice probably if Arsenal win the league.
Would you?
No, I'd still have gone Foden. I think I'd still have gone Foden. I've been hugely impressed by what he's done. He's essential now to Man City. He's properly part of the furniture. And we actually at a point where we take Foden for granted for scoring great goals, for running the show. I'm not saying Declan Rice isn't a great player, and he's done brilliantly. But for me, Foden's been the standout star. And you voted for him as well.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. I just think he's magnificent. I mean, 5 titles by the age of 23. I mean, already. It's just he's a phenomenon. And when De Bruyne hasn't been there, and De Bruyne obviously is irreplaceable, but Foden has slotted in. I particularly like his connection with Alvarez. And I just think that some of their passing, some of their interplay, they sort of seem to be on the same wavelength. I just think Foden's work ethic actually is just formidable. Out of possession, tracking back, covering, pressing. He's got everything.
So, Arsenal though, let's get back to them. We had all the issues with Havertz. Where does he fit? We've talked about Martinelli and Jesus, who was signed. Jesus and Zinchenko.
Zinchenko, sorry.
Who was signed from City to win them the league, and have actually become bit part players in some ways. They're on the fringes, yet they were the men who were going to help Arsenal get it over the line, really.
Arteta does like Jesus when he wants an absolute pressing machine at the top, but he just doesn't really sort of score enough of them. And Kai Havertz as a false 9, or maybe that sort of tucked in role on the left, the Granit Xhaka role, he's absolutely been sort of outstanding for that, and I'm sort of pretty much eating my words on that. I still think they need a serial clinical number 9, but Havertz in that role, absolutely outstanding. On Zinchenko, Arsenal's real problem this season, or a problem, has been at left back. I think if Jurrien Timber hadn't had that unfortunate injury sort of early in the season, they possibly have done the league by now. I think there has been an issue, whether it's Tomiyasu, Tierney's obviously out on loan. Zinchenko, he can step into midfield, but I think that has just been their one Achilles heel is left back.
Who is that centre forward then? Where are they going to go? Ivan Toney. Interesting you should mention Ivan Toney, who's looked a pale shadow of his former self in the last 10 games.
Yeah, but does that write him off as a striker?
Would you be picking him for the Euros as a definite at the moment?
I would, because he takes penalties, and I get very clinical.
You can't keep saying they just because they take
because
penalties.
Harry Kane's going to start.
What about the rest of the games?
Well, okay, so Harry Kane starts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you're going to get... Ivan Toney could go to the European Championships and have 2 touches, 2 penalties in the knockout stage.
Takes free kicks and penalties, and why don't we take him then?
There's an argument.
Anybody who takes penalties. Should we get Matt Letizia? Should we pick him?
Do you remember when we had a conversation with Ward-Prowse, and one of us asked him, this was at St George's Park, one of us asked him and said, would you be happy to go to a tournament just for 1 touch? i.e. a penalty. And he quite rightly bridled. He said, well, there's a little bit more to my game than that, which a long distinguished career would echo. But no, penalties are important. And I mean, Watkins, again, we had a conversation with Ollie Watkins. I think Douglas Luiz was sort of taking them at Aston Villa, and Villa are having a fantastic season, and it's obviously sort of worked out for them. But I would like to see Ollie Watkins taking more penalties, because again, I think from an England perspective, you want those options on the bench to come off and come on and take them.
We got slightly distracted from Man United Arsenal
there,
and another text in. This is Peter, who says, we don't want Jose back. Don't know where this narrative that he did good job at United is coming from. Awful football, toxic attitude.
I wonder what Luke Shaw would say. I mean, he had one or two issues.
I would agree. Doesn't a manager always have issues with some players in the squad? You have a squad of 20-odd players, you tend to have an issue with somebody.
Would you like him back because you like big headlines and he guarantees that his box office?
His box office, but he gives Man United fizz.
Where I agree with Robbie Fowler is you need a strong character to go into that position.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.